Good morning class. Today we will discuss about your chapter number 1, plant reproduction. See, in earlier lectures we have discussed about how do plants reproduce. They reproduce by roots, stem, leaves and spores, right? And also we have discussed about seed dispersal. How does seed dispersal occur and why is it important, and also the agents that help in seed dispersal, right? In this lecture we will discuss about your topic agriculture, or basically crop production. Okay, the first is, what is agriculture? See, basically you all know that you get your food which is cultivated by the farmers, right? This art, or basically this cultivation of soil and growing plants on soil and raising livestock is called agriculture. See, what does farmer do basically? They grow the crops, right? And what about crop? What are crops? See, crops are when only one type of plant is grown on a large land. For example, see, this is a wheat plant, right? See, what happens is, what is crop is basically when on a large land only one type of plant, suppose wheat plant, only wheat plant, only wheat plant is grown on a large land. Okay, only one type of plant is grown on a large land. This is called crops. Okay, this production of plants is called crop production. Okay, and agriculture is basically, it is the cultivation of these plants. Okay, cultivation of soil and cultivation of plant and raising livestock is called agriculture. You must have seen that there are some vegetables which you get only in winters and some of which you get in summers, right? So basically, what is this? See, there are the things that some crops can only be grown in winter. Why is that? Because in winters temperature is low, right? So some plants require low temperature so that they can grow, right? And some plants require high temperature so that they can grow. So the plants which require high temperature are grown in summer, and which requires low temperature are grown in winters. For example, rice. See, these are rice, right? Okay, rice are grown only in summers, okay, because they require high quantity of water and high temperature. Okay, next is, see, your green gram, that is basically moong dal. Okay, you can see that this is moong dal, right? This moong dal or this green gram is only grown in summers because it requires higher temperature. What about winters? Can you tell me the name of the crops that are grown in winters? For example, mustard. See, mustard. This is mustard or your sarso. Okay. See, this is mustard. Okay. This mustard is grown only in winters because it required low temperature. Okay, because it requires low temperature. So these crops, some crops are grown in summer and some crops are grown in winter. Okay, about what do we call these crops which are grown in summer and which are grown in winters? The crops which are grown in winter are called rabi crops. And the crops which are grown in summer are called kharif crop. The winter crops are mustard, pea and gram. Wheat also. See, you eat wheat on a daily basis, right? You eat chapati. Chapatis are made from wheat, right? So, wheat also is a winter crop. Basically, it is a rabi crop which is grown in winters, okay? And the crops which are grown in summer are called kharif crop. For example, your rice, right? Rice, moong dal, basically your green gram. Maize and your bajra also, which we call sorghum, right? So these are your kharif crops which are grown in summer. For example, rice, moong dal and green gram. And crops which are grown in winter are called rabi crop. For example, mustard, pea, gram and wheat. The next is different stages of agriculture. See, you know that crops are grown in summer, winter, right? But how these crops are grown, what are the stages required for these to grow, right? The different stages of agriculture are: first is plugging, second is adding manure and fertilizers. Third is your sowing. Fourth is irrigation. And fifth is harvesting. And sixth is storage. See, these all are the stages of production of agriculture, basically. See, what happens is farmers have to work very hard for the crops to grow healthy, right? And these are the stages. Now let us talk about first stage, that is plugging, right? What is plugging? It is basically done to lose the soil. So, see, what happens is basically farmers use tractors or machineries so that they can plug the soil or lose the soil so that the soil can get proper air circulation. See, plants require proper air and sunlight, right? So, it is necessary for the crops to grow healthy. The steps must be done properly. And this your first step, plugging, which helps in the loosening of soil so that air can get proper circulation in the soil. Okay. Next is manure and fertilizers. See, what do manures and fertilizers do? See, there are some organic fertilizers also, right? For example, your cow dung, right? Cow dung and the waste of vegetables, fruits, right? They are used as manures. What they do basically, they provide nitrogen and nutrients to the soil, okay? nitrogen and nutrient. See, like us, we require vitamins, minerals and nutrients for us to grow healthy, right? Crops also require nitrogen and nutrients to grow healthy. So, manure and fertilizers are added in the soil so that soil can be fully equipped with nitrogen and nutrients. Next is sowing. What is sowing? Basically, for example, these are your seeds also, right? These seeds are, these are your seeds, right? These seeds are planted into the soil and this process is called sowing. Sowing is basically planting the seeds into the soil. Okay. Next is irrigation. See, we have talked about that plants require proper conditions for them to germinate or for them to grow into new plants. Now, irrigation is basically farmers supply water to the crops. Okay, they have planted seeds, right? Afterwards they need water to grow, right? So irrigation is the step in which they supply water into the soil so that crops can grow healthy. Next is harvesting. See, after 5 or 6 months, what happens is crops are fully grown, right? Plants are fully grown and fruits and vegetables are coming out from that plant, right? And how do we get that, right? The next step is harvesting. Basically, farmers cut the crops and from there we get our vegetables or we get our crops, our food basically. Okay. Next is storage. Crops are grown at a large place, right? In a large land. Okay. When they are harvested, there is this large quantity of crops, right? There is this large quantity of wheat or barley or your peas or your vegetables, right? Then they need to be properly stored, right? Because they have yet to be gone to different farmers or different shops, right? So for this they need to be properly stored so that they cannot get defected or infected with any animals or any fungus, right? So this is the step where after harvesting farmers store their crops. Okay, so these are the steps of different stages of agriculture. First is plugging, where farmers loosen the soil or for the proper air circulation of the soil. Okay, second is adding manure so that plants can get the proper nitrogen and nutrients. Third is sowing. Basically, the seeds are planted in the soil. Fourth is irrigation, in which water is supplied to the land where the seeds are planted. Okay. Fifth is harvesting. The crops are cut and they are stored, right? Sixth is your storage. That is basically after cutting, the plants are properly stored, the crops are properly stored. Okay class, this will be all for today. Thank you for listening.